All right, good morning, everybody. It's Monday morning's edition of Ask the Master Auto Technician. Someone the other day said, you need more sleep, James." I said, "Why is that?" I said, "Sometimes you wake up and you don't know what day it is." Well, sometimes everybody else has that same problem too. It's Monday morning. I'm trying to get wide awake. I mean, two short days of weekends are just not enough sometimes, it seems like, the older you get. But I got Frank Sundrum calling all the way from, I have no idea where he's calling from. Frank, where are you calling from this morning, sir?
Bunnell, Florida.
Where's that at?
That is between St. Augustine and Daytona Beach.
Oh, okay. Well, here's something that you sent to me the other day, and this is from NPR. This is the two-way breaking news from NPR talking about digital license plates are rolling out in California. Now, when I first read that, I said, who would want digital license plates? But digital license plates are, like you said, they're digital. Right now, they will only fit on the back. They only want them on the back. They can actually let people know what's in behind, you can actually use them for rolling advertisement, they were saying, but they're putting them on fleet cars right now to track the number of miles. They put them on electric cars like the Bolts and Volts. They want to see how many miles they put on them, and that way they don't require any stickers because the stickers are automatic. There are some advantages and maybe some disadvantages to it. And I just figured, since you sent that to me, what are some of the advantages or disadvantages you can think of about digital license plates rolling out, Frank?
Well, let's do the funny part first, okay, because it's Monday.
I'm trying to get something funny going where I can start thinking this morning.
Okay.
Anyway, go ahead.
First of all, you and I might remember, we're old enough to remember when we used to joke around about how the license plates in a lot of states were made by prisoners.
Yes, still do. I still say that. I don't know if that's true or not, but yes.
Okay. Well, we're going to have a far better educated prisoner population soon.
So they can program in the numbers on the computer and give them to you that way. That's right.
Well, they would have to, if you think about it, actually, it would be far better than just running a plain, just an ordinary metal press.
True.
But because now they would have to learn a lot of very high-end skills in order to keep functioning, and they would, which would be very good, because they would have to learn how to solder, they'd have to learn how to assemble circuits, how to test circuits.
True.
To do a lot of stuff that's very, very much in high demand in this country, because all that stuff is really done overseas now.
Pretty much. Matter of fact, you're correct when it comes to anything technical as far as how something is assembled. I end up, if I have to talk to somebody, a lot of times they're from overseas. You're absolutely right about that. Not saying anything's bad about that, but those jobs, we don't have them here in America anymore. They're in Pakistan, Bangladesh, India. That's opening up a whole new middle class over in India, speaking of that. But the digital plates here, the thing that I kind of like about them, is the fact that they will also have a GPS on them. But we've talked about that before, where all cars made from 2015 to present automatically have a GPS on them. So you can't say that would be redundant by having another GPS on it. So what are some other good reasons for having a rolling digital license plate that floats advertisement on the back of it, other than maybe making a moneymaker for the state? $700, $699 is what they cost, and $7 a month maintenance fee. And I'm just trying to figure out, how much does it cost for a license plate? A license plate probably costs, renewing here in Florida, $100, I don't know, somewhere in that general area. And that's about it. But we're talking about California. This is $699 and $7 a month to maintain it. And I'm just wondering, do you see any advantages of having a rolling digital license plate, other than making prisoners have a more highly productive set of skills sort of making license plates? They're digital. I mean, I don't know.
I see it coming. I don't see the sense in replacing a 10-cent steel plate with a $600 plate that is going to be very vulnerable to all the damage that's out there between the weather, which digital does not like.
No.
But it's coming. But if you think about it, in Panama City, thankfully so far, our politicians haven't gotten gotten wind of this things called tolls, or else we'd be every time we drove across the Hathaway Bridge or across the Southport Bridge, we'd be getting with a toll.
True. They haven't figured. They
You know?
can't figure that out. You know, the only way they can do that is if they make it a privately maintained road, because state roads, you know, I don't think can be made toll roads that are built with tax dollars. I may be wrong. I don't know, but
Well, if you've ever driven in Pennsylvania, you will find out that you are wrong very quickly.
Ooh.
The worst roads in the country are in Pennsylvania, and they're all toll roads.
Ooh, okay.
Okay, and I mean, what passes for roads out there is absolutely criminal.
I don't know. Okay, I had no idea.
I mean, they use Soviet style concrete out there.
What?
Which is to say, very cheap, borderline, and there's so much corruption that who's going to complain? That's why they're always fixing the roads up in Pennsylvania, because you know, it's all mobbed up, so they use the cheapest concrete out there.
Is that why Domino's is advertising their paving roads now, fixing potholes, is because of all the corruption? They can't get the roads have so many potholes in them that Domino's is now repairing roads so their drivers can have an easier way to deliver pizza to you. I'm serious. This is the advertisement.
Don't get me started on Domino's pizza. but here's the thing. So actually, if you think about $700 today, is by the time it goes, a digital plate goes nationwide, if it ever does.
Yeah.
Okay. Will probably be the same price now, because the price will follow. Do you remember the first electronic calculator you bought?
I remember the first electronic calculated watch I bought. You know, it had a little digital. It was like $100. Yes. It was $100+. And then by the time a couple of years went around, they were giving away them Cracker Jack boxes. You know.
Yep.
That quick.
I remember buying one for our unit secretary, and it cost well over $1,000 because she just could not master the art of using one of those old calculators that you use to handle.
Oh yes. And
okay.
you bought her a digital one. You probably bought it from Texas Instruments.
Yes, I did. And it was over $1,000. And as you say, at the end of the product cycle, they were nothing.
Oh yeah.
And I suspect the same thing will happen, because there are roughly 300 million cars on the road, on the road today.
Right.
So every one of them, the cost of them will come down. But here's the great joke: as you make fun of me because I travel a lot, okay, I have something to add to the discussion.
Okay.
Right now, I have 3 toll boxes in my car.
3 toll boxes? Okay.
Yeah. Those little things that where you drive through. You drive through the toll.
Speed pass.
I have 3 toll boxes because the ones that I have for New York, where I visit, which is good for all of the Northeast, does not work in Florida. Florida has its own Sun Pass.
Yes, that's true. We do, and it's not recognizable between states. Is that what you're saying? States haven't made it? Okay.
Yes. Well, no. It's because Florida did not go with with the other system, which is Easy Pass, which is almost universally accepted, except for I have a drum roll from
Florida. Well, the rules are different in Florida. I mean, you got to admit. I mean, people don't retire and move north. People retire and move south. People also retire and move to low tax states, such as Florida, not New York, not New Jersey. Matter of fact, what was it the other day? Someone was talking about you're going to hear a giant sucking sound of people leaving California, New Jersey, Illinois, and New York come April 15th when taxes are due. I said, really? And the reason they're saying it is because they've raised the taxes so much in these states that the people that have the money and can afford will leave. And I'm going, ooh, this is not good.
When I moved to Illinois, and I was there the first year, I got a frantic call from my attorney saying, oh, you got to get the hell out of Illinois because taxes are almost being doubled. No. And she was just reading the headline and probably listening to Oh, what is that the news thing that begins with an F? Fox News.
Yeah, yeah, Fox News.
And so yeah, and I was kind of snickering and laughing because I'm one of those people that feel that it's good to pay taxes, maybe not too much, but you got to make a contribution because that's how you get good schools and good roads. But that's me.
Yeah. Well,
all right?
Yeah,
that's the price you pay for living in a society that allows a James Morris to wander around the free world, without an escort.
I should probably have an escort. I probably should.
Yes.
But Florida is low tax.
So here's the thing.
Okay.
Illinois went for 5 years because they were in such deep trouble, which they're still in, by the way. They went from 3 cents a dollar to 5 cents.
Okay. 2 cents.
Okay, and she was flipping out. But here's the thing. It is good for the thing about Florida, which is what makes Florida such a banana republic state, is that because it's funded by sales tax,
correct,
is that you're totally dependent on tourist traffic.
Right. We are.
And if the tourists go away for some reason, if there's some kind of a burp in the economy, either due to gas prices or something like that, Florida gets, the rest of the country may get a cold. Florida gets pneumonia.
Well, and that's because we don't have our economic chair is military and tourist. We don't have a three-legged, Northwest Florida,
yes.
I speak for Northwest Florida. We need to have the third leg, which is manufacturing, and that's something we're trying to get, but seems to be elusive to Florida for some strange reason. We can't seem to get manufacturing companies. And you figure if we go up there in January and say, you really need to come down here to Panama City because we're having a terrible cold day of 55 degrees where it's like 4 below zero up in Milwaukee or Minnesota or wherever, you'd think they'd want to come down here. But somehow or another, they don't. I can't quite figure that one out.
Well, there's actually a very good reason. One thing follows the other. Okay, if your schools are so poor that people cannot read and write, okay, or these days traverse mathematically, then to manufacturers, there's no point in coming down here because you talk to people in Panama City who will tell you that half the people they reject don't have basic, skills.
You're not supposed to be talking like that. That's truth. Truth is treason, and the empire lies. If you talk about the truth, and people realize that maybe our school system, all this money we're putting into it, produces an inferior product, they might get the hint. Maybe there's something wrong with our school system.
Trust me on this, James. Okay.
All right.
Florida could double its investment in schools. All right, and it wouldn't catch up with other states where there's manufacturing.
We do need to have manufacturing here, really big time. We only got 15 seconds left.
And in order to do that, you have to have a culture that supports education, not derides it constantly, as our government tends to do in Florida. Okay, it's always open season on teachers. It's the least supportive state in the country when it comes to education, which is why teachers are going north while everybody else is moving south to retire.
I got to admit, a lot of teachers are moving to Georgia where the pay is better, in Alabama. They're not staying here in Panama City, Florida, where I think Panama City, Bay County is short 56 teachers this year. And school starts in less than 2 weeks. So it's going to be an interesting year. It is. All right, Frank, thank you so much for coming and calling and your perspective on that. But it is, we do have to do something around here. I'd love to see manufacturing in Bay County, and I'd love to see the technical schools full of people wanting to learn these skills. All right, we got to go. We're up against the clock. I've got Scott Hobbs calling all the way from Mr. Reuter. Who knows what we're going to talk about? Bye-bye, everybody. We'll be right back. Summer is here and the days are getting longer and hotter. Call James Auto Center for a free cooling system evaluation and consultation. Give us a call, 850-763-0555 today.
If you want the best deal in town for tires, you need to call Baytown Tires at 873-8900.
Hanson and the guys at Baytown Tires take pride in serving Panama City for over 20 years. Baytown Tires on Highway 98 in St. Andrews. All service work backed by a nationwide warranty.
Water is too powerful to fight alone. Mr. Reuter Plumbing. Sink, shower, and toilet emergency drain services.
All right, welcome back to our show. This is part 2 of Ask the Master Oil Technician. I'm talking to Scott Hobbs from Mr. Rooter Plumbing. He is your gentleman plumber. If you've got a question about septic issues or sanitary sewer or slow drains or smells, that's something I bet you probably people get calls on. You probably get calls on. Anyway, good morning, Scott. How are we doing this morning, sir?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you guys?
Doing very well. That's one of the things I was looking at about. I went to septic tanks. I just went Google and went septic tanks. And the biggest thing I noticed on here, everybody talks about avoiding septic disasters, septic tank disasters, and they all want to sell you this magic formula that you flush once a year down your toilet, and magically your septic tank heals itself after one application of this. And I'm seeing all sorts of things, maintaining it, lowest prices guaranteed, you put this once a year treatment down. Is there any magic bullet out there to maintaining a septic tank? Because I know everybody thinks there's a mechanic in a bottle that I can pour in an engine and fix it. Is there a plumber in a bottle that you can put in your septic tank?
Well, there is a magic bullet, and it's good maintenance. It's knowing the system. It's understanding what you can and can't put down the drain.
Yeah.
And it's an ongoing process of continuing to introduce good, friendly bacteria and trying to avoid things that kill the bacteria in the septic system. So the magic bullet is ongoing, continuous maintenance, just like, know your vehicle.
Right.
You got to know your system and what it takes to keep it up.
What are some of the biggest mistakes? I mean, we all have people that have. I know people, including myself, and I never ever thought more than once or twice about my septic system until it had a problem. But what are some of the misnomers out there that people have about their septic system? I mean, I've had some people say, "I've had my septic tank 20 years and I've never had it pumped out." And I just kind of look at them and go, "Wow, that's amazing. I think that's fantastic." You must,
Well, it is amazing, and maybe just by miracle, they have good habits. But see, today with all the chlorine type products and antibacterial products and all the things that say flushable, that means it'll go through the toilet. Doesn't necessarily mean it'll go through the drain system. It just wreaks havoc on that system. The septic tank is almost kind of like your stomach. It needs a good balance of good bacteria, friendly bacteria. And when you introduce antibiotics, when you introduce any type of thing that messes up that bacteria, it's going to wreak havoc on that system. So I would say, some of the things that I see folks do is they buy this over-the-counter type products that are maybe a granular product.
Right.
And the thing about a powder or granular product, anything dry, it takes a perfect environment for that bacteria to start to grow. It has to be the perfect temperature. Everything has to be perfect for that bacteria to start to grow. When we go and pump a tank, we'll see where people have faithfully been putting these granular products in the septic because they're just floating
on the top,
in the bottom, or on the top, or whatever the consistency is. It's just there. Well, there's your stuff. It hasn't done anything. So that's some of the misnomers that people have is, just put it down the drain, it'll work, and not really doing the research and knowing if it'll work. Also all these modern products that they get sold on, that kill bacteria, and chlorine-based products.
Well, that's one of the things I noticed. I went to my daughter was staying out on 38 at they rented a house out there, and they had all these warnings: don't flush anything down the toilet. We're on a sewer. A septic tank system here and all this right here. And yet I noticed that at every sink they had antibacterial pump soaps there. And I kind of looked at it and I went, isn't this kind of like, just the opposite of what you need? They really shouldn't have these, because Scott Hobbs and we don't think about it. You go out there, you see the antibacterial soap, you don't even think, even when you're going on the interstate, when you stop at the rest stops. Most of those are on septic tank systems out there, their own type system. And yet you see antibacterial soap there. I'm going, do they not realize that they're actually causing more problem? Because I didn't realize that was a problem until you told me about it. I didn't think about antibiotics, didn't think about antibacterial soap, I didn't think about dial soap, I didn't think about any of these things that kill bacteria could actually cause you to have a bigger problem on your septic system, because you just don't think about soap, you think soap's a good thing, but maybe soap's not. Certain kinds of soap aren't a good thing in your septic tank.
That's right. I'd rather see somebody use an old-fashioned soap that's made out of some kind of lard or fat than use an antibacterial, because we know that the fats, oils, and grease, they float on top of the system,
Right.
and then the sludge sinks to the bottom, and the clear water is what goes into your drain field. So if you're having your septic system pumped every 3 to 5 years, then those fats, oils, and grease are on the top. They'll be removed, and you start back over fresh.
And that's what I was. You do a lot of thinking when you're on the road driving. I went to visit my mama this weekend. And I'm sitting there going, now, when they go back to the drain field, do they have a T there that only kind of like a one line that goes out, and there's a T, and it keeps most of the sludge from coming in? Only a small amount of sludge gets into the. I mean, how does that work? Is there,
Sure. Well, modern systems on the backside, so the pipe that goes to the drain field out of the tank, the modern systems have a T, like you say, but there's also a filter that you pull. You can pull that filter out, and every time it's pumped, it should be removed, and it should go to the front side of the tank, and it should be sprayed off and cleaned properly. There's a system for that. So the back side of the tank has a clear water. There's a baffle in the middle.
Right.
So you go to the front, you take the solids that have been caught and collected, and you spray them off in the front, and then you reintroduce that filter back into the T. And that prevents those solids from getting into that drain field.
Well, I was wondering how that happened, because the solids are what causes the problems in the drain field. And once the drain field gets clogged up with fats, oils, and grease, what can you do? Is there anything?
Start over.
Oh, I was afraid you were going to say that. And when you say start over, that means you have to find can you dig that up, the area where the field lane, because some people have limited amount of space. Can y'all dig up that area that used to be the drain field that's contaminated and redo it again? Can you put in gravel and new sand and dirt and dispose of the other? How do you go about doing that if you have to start over?
We do. We have to remove the old system, the old contaminated soil, and it's not like a biohazard, so it has to be properly processed and disposed of, in most cases, like in a landfill. So and it can go there. So it's not like a chemical, radioactive type stuff.
Right.
Because it does break down and return back to the earth, over time. But you do have to remove that. You have to bring in fresh, clean sand, and based on what the site evaluation is where that drain field is going to be positioned. It may not be at the same depth it was. When it was installed 30 years ago, it may be up a little higher,
right.
It may be a little bit bigger. It could be completely different. Now, if you have the room and the space, then we're going to leave that there, and we're going to build it to the side, so you don't have to go through the expense of removing all of that. It's not necessary. It's just, you've got grass planted over it, or whatever the case may be. Just leave it there.
Right. So there are cases where you can just leave the old drain field there because you got plenty of room and just go to another area. But like
we
you said,
try to do that.
Yeah,
sure.
But on the beach out there, there are just, you got houses stacked up next to houses, and they're not on sanitary sewer. A lot of them are on. Now, I'm speaking of 30A. I don't know what it is like on Panama City Beach, but maybe the same way. But that's really a big thing out there. One of the things I was talking to people out there, I did actually talk to a plumber out there. He says, we're on call 24/7 because these people are paying $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a week. And they don't want these septic tanks to mess up. And it seems like once a summer, they seem to get a call on every house because someone has flushed something down the sewer they shouldn't have flushed down. And then the next person that comes to spend the week there has problems. And and I'm sure you see that all the time. And now, do y'all have customers that have the Advantage plan that own houses on the beach?
Oh, absolutely. We sure do. We've got a lot of those Advantage plan customers, and Panama City Beach is very similar to that. They've got some very difficult situations with townhouses. There'll be a row of 5 or 6 or 8 townhouses, and some of those units share a septic system, and they have to get when they do any maintenance or repair anything, they have to get the agreements of their neighbor who shares a system. I would say the best solution in those situations, if it's an investment property or your home, is to make the investment and go ahead and tie to the city sewer. In most situations on Panama City Beach, there's a city sewer close by, and you can install a lift station, and have it pumped to it, and then it's a lot easier to maintain.
Now, lift station is, now if I'm not mistaken, a lift station is kind of like a miniature sewer plant, but instead of it putting it into a tank, it pumps it to this uphill to the city sewer. Is that correct?
Right. It doesn't really process,
right.
The sewage, but it does eject it into. It's a holding tank. You're right, and it ejects it to the city system, and we can pump it down the street, uphill. Wherever you want to pump it to, we can get it there. So you still have to be mindful of what you put in that system. Those things that say they're flushable. I mean, they go through the toilet. They shouldn't go into that lift station because they're going to wreak havoc on that pump. You got to worry about the fats, oils, and grease because they'll collect on the floats that tell that pump to turn on and turn off, and then they won't turn on. So you still have to have the same mindfulness, in maintenance that you do in your septic system or your gravity drain system.
And that's all. A lot of people don't think about it till they have that problem. I didn't think about my well working yesterday till I went to plug it in, and my well doesn't work either. It's decided, I think it got struck by lightning as well. It doesn't work. I'm going, this is not fair. It's a 24-volt well. It's just a little electric pump. But anyway, decided it didn't want to work yesterday. But that's one of those things you think about after the fact when it doesn't work. And what we're trying to do is get people proactive, get them thinking about, think about getting your septic tank maintained like your car. You change your oil in your car on a regular basis. Once a year, you would recommend people having their septic tank at least examined, especially if it's a rental?
Well, if they have an Advantage plan, take advantage of that. If you have a proper access clean out, let us, run the camera through there. But every 3 to 5 years you should be fine as long as you're not doing anything really crazy. Every 3 to 5 years, depending on the size of your family and your home, is fine. If you can't remember the last time you've had it pumped, go ahead and get it pumped. Put it on your calendar. We can look at the tank and say, hey, this is in really rough shape. Your lifestyle really wants us coming out every 3 years. We can advise you on that once we're there, and just schedule it. Like you say, your car, you schedule that maintenance. You guys have done a great job of educating the public on how to maintain and change your oil, but we haven't done such a good job in our industry.
Well, that's what we're trying to do here. That's what you and I have been trying to do for the last few years here. We're trying to get people where they think about those things that are out of sight, not of mind, like your sewer system, your septic system. These things get very valuable when they, you got to have them. And if you don't have them, you just lose the value of your house and the ability to enjoy your property when you had a backed up sewer system, and that just is not fun at all. Give Scott Hobbs a call at Mr. Rooter Plumbing at 763-2001 and tell him the Master Auto Technician sent you there. And we'll be back tomorrow morning right here on Fox 28. Bye-bye, everybody.
Part of what I'd like to let you know is what we do and how we work our system. Basically, we've got about 700 stocking dealers scattered around the 15 counties here in the Big Bend area of the state. I run a fleet of trucks, vans, and what we call hotshot vehicles to deliver to our dealers quickly so they can help service you as fast and efficiently as they can. Provide timely and efficient service, and we're there to take care of our dealers who in turn can take care of their customers.